often said, the art of communication is the language of leadership. Indeed, oration is a skill that can challenge ideas, change perspectives, and inspire action. We are blessed to have amongst us a child who embodies this spirit and more. She is Malak Fatima of grade 8. Malak has an impressive track record in academics. She is a virtuoso, a courteous, and a meticulous student. She is a student of Hifzul Quran and is doing wonders. May Allah irradiate your way with the light of Al-Huda in this world and in the hereafter. Tonight, she is here to enlighten us on a topic. What is taqwa? Taqwa means piousness, fear of Allah, love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and self-restraint. To elaborate the concept further, let's welcome Malak.
नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली. The guest of honor of this occasion, the chairman sir, the manager sir, the principal ma'am, revered teachers, my dear friends, and all the respected guests in this gathering. To you all, I greet you in the best mode of greeting by saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May the peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon all of you. My name is Malak Fatima, a student of class 8, and I am going to be speaking to you today about taqwa. The topic of my speech is, what is taqwa? After hearing the topic of the speech, you would have thought that I am going to share something with you about Taqwa Islamic School. No, not at all. You will be surprised to know that taqwa or piety has been mentioned in the Holy Quran in more than 60 locations, while its derivatives have been mentioned at more than 190 places. We hear it mentioned all the time at the beginning of every Jummah prayer. We also hear this specific word in the sermon of marriage. So, the question that often arises, what is taqwa and how can we attain taqwa? First of all, let's explore its meaning linguistically and grammatically. The origin of the word taqwa is from the Arabic root letters waw, qaf, ya, meaning shield. The term taqwa is related to the 8th form of the verb, which is ittaqa. This form of the verb implies the action of the verb for oneself or for one's own advantage. This verb form also implies diligence in the action of the verb. Hence, the verb ittaqa and its related noun taqwa literally mean to safeguard, preserve, shield, or protect oneself diligently from something harmful. Muttaqi, in general, refers to someone who is cautious and conscientious. The Arabic phrase ittaqal matr means he sought shelter for himself from the rain. Ittaqun nar means protect yourself from fire. Ittaqullah means protect yourself diligently from the harmful consequences of disobeying Allah's laws and commandments. By the way, taqwa is explained as a shield against wrongdoing and further expounded it as to be conscious of Allah or to have fear of Allah or to be cautiously aware of Allah. Taqwa is an internal compass on the path that leads towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This consciousness and fear of Allah is understood as a protection and a shield against wrongdoing. The abstraction of evil through this fear, consciousness, and establishing a cautious awareness of Allah ultimately develops one's love of Him. Now, let me share with you a hadith regarding taqwa. The most insightful explanation of taqwa has been found in the discussion of Umar radiallahu anhu and Ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu. It was reported that Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu asked Ubay bin Ka'ab radiallahu anhu about taqwa. In reply, Ibn Ka'ab radiallahu anhu queried Umar radiallahu anhu, "O leader of the believers, what do you do when you have to pass through a thorny road?" Umar radiallahu anhu replied, "I lift my cloth up to my calves and watch my footsteps, and take each step slowly from the fear of thorns, lest they don't prick me." Ka'ab radiallahu anhu said, "This is taqwa." Subhanallah, what a beautiful parable. Who will now dare to say that this word is still ambiguous? In fact, we are under divine surveillance. Taqwa is just like a giant camera which has been installed upon us to monitor our activities throughout our lives and across the globe. The more we have the sense of being monitored, the more we would be cautious in every walk of our lives. Furthermore, we know the universal principle of submission to the divine will is beautifully expressed in the character of one who is a servant of Allah, known as an Abdullah, which is an ideal state of taqwa. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu said, "From the completion of taqwa is that the servant fears from his Lord even with regards to things the weight of an atom." Abu Darda's advice for servants who wish to accomplish a character of taqwa should fear to accomplish the smallest of sins. While going through the Noble Quran, we have come across several ayats which emphasize the importance of taqwa. For instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, Surah number 3, ayah number 102, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha haqqa tuqatihi wa la tamutunna illa wa antum muslimun." O you who have believed, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except as Muslims in submission to Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayah number 196, "Wattaqu Allah wa'alamu anna Allah shadidul iqab." And fear Allah and know that Allah is severe in penalty. Unfortunately, it is a tragedy of the current materialistic era that we don't even think that we are being watched by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our actions are being recorded and we have to be held liable for our deeds on the day of judgment. This sense of lack of accountability in turn spoiled our character and tarnished our reputation. Satan has showcased evil deeds in such an attractive and lucrative form that the evils are being glorified and not considered harm. Despite all odds, we shouldn't abandon hope. The condition of the Muslim society can be improved only by retaining and refreshing taqwa in our lives. We must try our level best to protect ourselves from the punishment of Allah by obeying His orders and by abstaining from what He has prohibited. Nowadays, we see anarchy and chaos across the globe. Although almost all the countries have stringent laws as well as efficient judiciary, yet corruption and oppression prevail everywhere. Who can check a person from oppression if he is wealthy as well as mighty? In such a scenario, Taqwa is the only internal motivating factor which disciplines the life of the individual. The person who has piety and the sense of accountability will definitely refrain himself from wrongdoings. Ultimately, if taqwa is practiced at individual level, there will be negligible crimes at collective level. As a result, communal harmony and mutual respect will pave the way to the peaceful coexistence, especially in a multi-religious and multicultural society. Lastly, we shouldn't be judgmental regarding the possession of taqwa. We shouldn't give labels to anybody on grounds of his or her appearance. Taqwa is something that is unseen. It is either known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or can be felt by the person himself. When Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked about the meaning of taqwa, as reported in the Sahih Muslim, he said, "At-taqwa ha-huna, at-taqwa ha-huna, at-taqwa ha-huna." Taqwa is here. And in saying so, he pointed to his chest 3 times. When you feel that your heart is beating at a fast pace out of fear of Allah in prayers, that's taqwa. When tears roll down your face, knowing you have done many sins, that's taqwa. When life's too hard, even though you smile alone, that's taqwa. When you look into your heart every time and see that Allah is there, that's taqwa. I would like to end my talk with one of the beautiful ayahs of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Imran, Surah number 3, ayah number 76. بَلَا مَنْ أَوْفَى بِأَحْدِهِ وَاتَّقَى فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَّقِينَ. But yes, whoever fulfills his commitment and fears Allah, then indeed Allah loves those who fear Him. May Allah guide us to His obedience and keep us protected from His disobedience. May Allah also guide us to His fear and may He reward us better than what we deserve. May He also love us in return of our fear for Him. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakillahu khairan, Sister Malak. Taqwa is indeed an eternal compass that we ought to instill in us. May we have the love and fear of our Rabb in our hearts. May Allah make us of the muttaqeen.
Ameen.